Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Tyler with the SEC Nation podcast. Today, I'm going to be giving you my reaction to the Florida-Miami game that happened on Saturday. Before we get started, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button down below. I wanted to thank everyone for listening. I don't plan on having it that long. Just going to do a quick recap of the Florida-Miami game, and that will be it. On Thursday, you'll hear my picks for Week 1. All right, first of all, very sloppy game for both teams. Neither offense could get anything going. I'm paraphrasing here, but I believe Desmond Howard on College Game Day said something like, he said, Miami will win this game because I don't think Florida is taking this game seriously. Now, he was kind of half right. He was wrong that Miami would win, but Florida did not look like they were taking this game seriously at all. Now, that's not an excuse for how poor they played, but it did look like Florida came to this game way overconfident. On Thursday, I had this game being a 5-point game. I was stupid. I bought into the media who was saying this would be a 2-score game. I changed my pick from a 5-point game to a 10-point game. It ended up being a 4-point game. Both teams looked sloppy as hell, especially on the offensive side. Having the mindset of we're just going to easily blow this team out is the wrong mindset to have, especially in Week 1, especially against a Power 5 team, and especially against a Power 5 team that's your in-state rival. Tackling by both teams was absolutely terrible. Neither team could make any kind of tackle. That was a great run by Kadarius Toney on the first Florida drive, but my God, that was some of the worst tackling I'd ever seen by Miami. Same thing with DJ Dallas with his 50-yard run. That was a great run by Dallas, but that was absolutely terrible tackling by Florida on that run. And that's not just on those plays. That was throughout the whole game. There was just terrible tackling. Players bouncing off each other like pinballs. Jarren Williams, the freshman quarterback for Miami, I think he showed why he's the starting quarterback in that team. I think they made the right decision. However, he did show that he's a freshman. He tried to do too much when he was under pressure, tried to scramble around. He needed to learn to just either go down or throw the ball away. Florida's defense is way too fast to be scrambling around like that. And late in the game, he didn't really come through for them that well. And obviously, the offensive line did not help him. And obviously, Florida's defensive line just dominated that game, especially in the second half. Early in the game, it did look like Florida was going to pull away. They had the 7-3 lead. They looked like they were going to score again, make it 14-3. I was thinking that Florida was going to score, go up 2 scores, and would eventually pull away in the game. But that fumble on the read option absolutely killed them. Even after the fumble, I thought, okay, if you force a Miami 3 and out, you force them to punt, you're getting the ball past midfield probably. But then you fumble again on an option. Not really sure what Davis was doing. Don't know why he tried to get up after he fell on the ball. Just stay down. And that after that second fumble, you completely felt the momentum shift. There was a slight momentum shift after the first fumble. The second fumble, it felt like Miami was in complete control of the game. It was not looking good for Florida. The offense just could not get anything going. The run game never got started to begin with. Michael P. Ryan had 10 carries for 42 yards. The second best rusher was Felipe Franks, I believe, had 7 carries and 8 yards rushing. Now, Miami's defensive line is very talented and one of the best in the country, so I give them a lot of credit for shutting down Florida's run game. But those numbers need to improve if you're going to beat teams like LSU and Georgia. I really thought Florida could be in trouble when Miami pulled off that 10-play, 90-yard drive for the touchdown pass. I thought if they didn't get anything started in the second half, this could be a very embarrassing game for Florida. But Florida made some very good adjustments coming out into the second half, especially on defense. The offense got better, but wasn't great. They did move the ball in that opening drive. They ended up punting, but I thought it was good. They still moved the ball down the field. Again, this is just the first game. Let's not get too crazy. Let's not freak out. No need for either team to panic, especially Florida. There's no need to panic right now. It's just the first game. Hopefully Saturday was just the worst game of the year for Florida. Can improve. There's a lot they need to improve on. Again, for all the critics, it's easy to criticize a team when your team hasn't played yet. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more ranked teams that are going to struggle in Week 1. Both teams did everything they could to lose this game. Florida getting 10 sacks was obviously very impressive, but Miami's offensive line did not help at all. Miami had the most pre-snap penalties I've probably ever seen in any game. I've never seen so many false starts in the late game. I've never seen Florida's defensive secondary struggle that much, especially late in the game. They're holding They were all over the receivers they were guarding, especially on that 4th and 34 play for Miami. I mean, that was the game, guys. And Marco Wilson absolutely tackled the guy, giving Miami new life and a first down. And you can't have stupid mistakes like that. And then I believe it was the Miami drive before that. It was either the same drive or the drive before that. I can't remember. Miami fakes the field goal. There was holding, and then you hit the kicker 5 yards out of bounds, and you give him another first down on the unnecessary roughness. You can't do that, especially that late in the game. That's unacceptable. But again, it's just the first game. I'm sure Dan Mullins is going to work on the mental mistakes that Florida made. I'm sure Florida's going to look a lot better as the season goes on. Florida needs a ton of adjustments both sides of the ball. The offensive line did protect Felipe Franks a lot better than I thought they would. They got absolutely nothing started in the run game. But like I said, Miami's defensive line did a great job at shutting down the run. You need to work on the secondary, and you need to work on tackling. The defensive front seven for Florida, I thought, played great. That was probably the biggest positive to take from this for Florida, is the linebackers looked a lot better than I thought they would, and the defensive line looked amazing like I thought they would. So you improve on the tackling, improve on mental errors. You need more discipline. I think Florida just needs to work on the secondary. You have to cover better. You can't hold your receivers. You can't run the guys over. You can't jump over their backs and tackle them. You have to work on that. Biggest issue on the defense is the defensive backs have to tackle better. Fix the offensive line. The offensive line did great, like I said, protecting Felipe Franks, but opened no holes at all in the run game. But you're also going to play great defensive lines like Auburn, LSU, Missouri, and possibly Georgia. So, I mean, if you can't run against these teams, it's going to be very hard for you to win. Moving on to probably the biggest take from the entire game that everybody's talking about is Florida quarterback Felipe Franks. Now, Felipe had I would say, average night. It was 17 for 27, 254 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a rushing touchdown, and a fumble. He had a QBR of 38.6. Okay, that's what I would say is average. Is that the worst night a quarterback can have? No. But it's far from the best night he could possibly have. More than half of those passing yards came off 2 plays. They came off the 66-yard touchdown run by Kadarius Toney, and they came off the 65-yard pass to Josh Hammond, which, again, that was a great throw by Felipe Franks. That was the best play made of the night. That was a great job of him making that throw, especially coming out right after he threw that interception. My biggest problem is this kid has to mature. He has to grow up. You're a junior now. You're not a freshman. Okay, the excuse for the stage is too big for him and he's under a lot of pressure in this game. That's not an excuse anymore. He's performed in front of big stages before. He's played Georgia twice. He's played at Mississippi State. He's played at Tennessee. He played Michigan in the Peach Bowl and played great. Okay, so him playing poorly in this game because it's a big stage and it's the only game of the week and everyone's watching, that's not an excuse. Jarren Williams for Miami is a freshman. Okay, that's somewhat of an excuse for him. It's a better excuse for him than it is for Felipe Franks. It's not an excuse for Felipe Franks anymore. This kid is 21 years old. He's got to start acting like it. My biggest problem was, I believe it was after the 65-yard touchdown, and it was either when he ran it in from 3 yards or when he threw the pass to Michael Pirine for the touchdown. I don't remember which touchdown that was. As to whichever one was their last touchdown. And then they come back from commercial break, and Felipe Franks is yelling into the camera saying, "This is what I do." That's incredibly ignorant to do when you're having the average night that you are having. What do you do, Felipe? Throw it into coverage? Overthrow your receiver to where it gets tipped and intercepted? Throw behind LaMichael Pirine on the swing routes? Almost every swing route to LaMichael Pirine, it was behind him. He had to make some awkward catch, which threw him off momentum, and he would just instantly get tackled. Then in the first quarter, you had a pass to LaMichael Pirine. We got absolutely blown up. If the Miami defender was just a step ahead of that, it's probably intercepted. Okay? This was a team win. This was not a Felipe Franks taking over the game win. This is a team win. You should have been with your team and focusing on the next drive. Because on the next drive, you threw a interception towards 3 white Miami jerseys. First of all, why is Florida throwing the ball with 4 minutes left? Dan Mullen should know better than that. Why are you throwing the ball with 4 minutes left? Even if you don't get the first down on that drive, worst case scenario, you either get Miami to use their last 2 timeouts or you chew up the clock a good bit. Okay, that's better than throwing an interception or an incompletion. Okay, so Felipe, you gotta get out of your own head, man. You gotta get the criticism out of your head, man. Stop caring what a bunch of comments on your Instagram say about you or what a bunch of media members are saying about you. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Okay? Like you're a junior now. You don't have to prove anyone wrong. Just go out and play. Even if you're an average quarterback, you can still do good things. Okay? Be a leader of your team and get the win. That's what leaders do. Tony Romo was probably the most criticized quarterback in the NFL, and he was a great quarterback when he was healthy. Okay, he didn't let any of that noise bother him at all. You gotta block out all the noise on the negativity, man, because it's going to cause a toxic environment for your team if you keep doing what you did on Saturday night. Now, I'll give you credit. You got the win. You didn't get the win. Florida won. That's a team win. You did not single-handedly win that game. Felipe Franks did not single-handedly win that game. Okay, that was a team win, mostly a defensive win. You got to get all that crap out of your head, man. Okay, it's a huge distraction. It affects your team. Just get it out. If I was Felipe Franks, I would delete my social media apps off my phone. I would delete Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at least for the football season. When the season ends, he can do whatever he wants. So he's got to stop caring about what a bunch of strangers are tweeting him on Twitter or commenting on his Instagram. Either don't read them or delete those apps. If it's that big of a problem, delete the apps. You gotta grow up. He has got to grow up. He's 21 years old. He can't be acting like a 16-year-old anymore. Even if you're not great. I think Felipe Franks, at his best, is a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback, but he's good. He can make some very good throws, and he can make some good plays with his legs. But last night, he looked like he was in a completely new system, and it's a system he played in all year last year. Now, again, was this his worst game of his career? No. But it was by far anywhere near the best game of his career. And also, it is just the first game of the season. I'm sure he's going to improve. I really hope he improves, or that's a huge problem for Florida, and you may see a new starting quarterback for the Gators by the end of the season. I think Felipe is very full of himself for a guy that had a very average night. I saw a lot of people say he had a good amount of yards against a good defense, which Miami is a very good defense. But the yards does not determine how good of a game you have every time. If Felipe threw for 320 yards, but had 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and they lose, is that a good game? No, it's not. That's not a good game. If you throw for 200 yards but have 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, is that a good game? That's a lot better than what Felipe had. That's not a lot of yards, but at least you got those 5 touchdown throws and you got the win. All right, so that's it on Felipe Franks. I know it may have focused on the more negative than positive for Florida, but there was some positives in this game. The biggest positive was you found a way to win this game. Okay, there was times where it looked like Florida wasn't going to win, and they found a way to win the game. They did that more than once. Good teams do that. Good teams find a way to win, even in the very bad games. Okay, there's a couple years ago, Clemson struggled with Troy. I believe that's the year they won the national championship with Deshaun Watson. Alabama struggled with the Citadel for a half last year. Clemson struggled for 3 or 4 weeks last year because they couldn't figure out who their quarterback was. Now, am I comparing Florida to Alabama and Clemson? No. But this is just an example of good teams with slow starts. Ohio State lost to Virginia Tech in week 2 or 3, and I believe it was 2013 maybe. They lost to Virginia Tech at home. Everyone said they're an 8-4, 7-5 team. They never lost a game that year. They destroyed Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship. They beat Alabama in the playoff, and they won the national championship that year. Okay, so this is not the end of the world for Florida. There's no need to panic right now. If you lose to Kentucky or Tennessee, or God forbid both of them, then you should start panicking. I don't think they will lose to those two teams. But if they do, I still wouldn't say panic, but it's very concerning if they lose one or two of those teams, especially Tennessee. Tennessee is going to be a very improved team. That's not a knock on Tennessee, but Florida cannot afford to lose to a rival they've beaten 13 or 14 times in the last 15 years, and you especially can't lose to them at home. Now, is Florida a top 10 team or a team that looks like they're going to win the East? Not right now. I'm not saying that's impossible because, again, it's just been one game. But if you ask me to make a prediction, I would say there's no way in hell Florida wins the East. And if you ask me to rank them, I would put them about 12th. Okay, like I said, I'm moving on to some positives now. You found a way to win. You had 4 turnovers, and you still won the game. Not a lot of teams do that. I don't think if this was a Will Muschamp or a Jim McElwain coach team, I don't think Florida wins that game on Saturday. So I give credit to the Florida players and the Florida coaching staff for finding a way to win that game. Florida's defensive front had an absolutely amazing night. You got linebacker Jonathan Greenard, 6 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Jabari Zuniga, 6 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. Ventrell Miller, 6 tackles, 2 sacks. Kyrie Campbell, 6 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. That was a very good night for all 4 of those players. And Florida also had 10 sacks, like I mentioned. No SEC team has done that since 2009. Florida had 52 yards rushing. Obviously, that's not good at all, but you did play probably one of the best defensive lines in the entire country. I don't really know if that shows how bad Florida's run game is or how good Miami's defensive line is. It could be a little bit of both. I'm going to say it leans towards more how good Miami's defensive line is. Again, it's been one game, so I don't know. You have to develop some kind of run game against Kentucky or Tennessee. One last negative that this really bothered me. Why did Kadarius Toney only get 4 touches in the whole night? After that 66-yard touchdown run on the screen, he never had another reception after that. Dan Mullen, you have to keep giving your best playmaker the ball until they stop him. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. He only had 4 touches for the whole night. He wasn't doing great running the ball. He did have a good run on 4th down to get that first down, but then he had that bad 7-yard loss. But I was absolutely shocked they didn't run more screens with him. Miami showed they couldn't tackle him. I would have kept giving him the ball on the screen until they absolutely stopped it. This is what Florida needs to improve on. Felipe Franks needs to grow up and be a leader. Stop caring about what critics say. Stop worrying about yourself. Just focus on your team and help your teammates out. And that's all you have to do. No one cares if you're the best quarterback in the conference or not. If you're winning games, that's all that matters. Florida definitely needs to work on the defensive secondary. They were all over the receivers that they were covering, all over the receivers before the ball got there. They were running over the receivers they were covering. You got to fix them that, Florida. You're supposed to be one of the best defensive secondaries in the country and absolutely did nothing to show that. Offensive line needs to improve in the run game. Still did a good job protecting Felipe Frank. Gave him time to throw the ball downfield a few times. I didn't think Florida would be able to do that at all that night. And I say give the ball to your biggest playmaker, Kadarius Toney, at least twice as much as you did on Saturday. You have to give him the ball more. He's the closest thing to Percy Harvin at Florida I've ever seen. Give him the ball. I don't care if it's a handoff, if it's a direct snap in the Wildcat, if it's an end around, if it's a screen, or if it's a throw down the field. Give him the ball. You have to give him the ball. All right, that's it from my episode today, guys. Thank you all for listening. I hope you all really enjoyed it. Before you go, again, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button below. If you have anything you would like for me to talk about on my podcast, please comment below in the comment section. If I missed anything or got anything wrong, also comment down in the comment section and let me know what I did wrong. Thursday, I'm going to have my picks for the Week 1 games. I'm going to go over the bigger games mostly. I don't think anyone's curious on what's going to happen with the LSU-Georgia Southern game. I will briefly go over it, but I'm going to go into more detail for games like Oregon, Auburn, or North Carolina, South Carolina. I want to go ahead and say Texas A&M blows out Texas State Thursday night. So there's your pick for the Texas A&M Texas State game. All right, again, that's it, guys. I'm really excited for the college football season. I hope y'all are all as excited as I am. Again, thanks for listening, and hope y'all have a great week. Thank you.